My God. Like this?
Yes.
Is that too obvious?
No, I mean...
I'm Aries Ballard. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and I use oil paint, acrylic paint sometimes, and ceramics. I think art-wise, I've always been interested. I've always done crafty things with my family. My family is pretty artistic as well. But my background as of late, I was pursuing medicine for a while, and specifically I went to school for biology, and I also do a lot of research. So I think that's been an interesting twist to have within my career. I think my art overall is an expression of myself. Lots of self-portraits, or how I feel or think, is put into my work. Even if it's not a picture of me, it's still me in some way. I've always wanted to go to Japan. I actually made a vision board this year for the first time in January. And on my vision board, I was I put in a corner Japan and then learn Japanese. So I was one day the door will open and I'll be able to go. And then Matthew, he texted me and he was there's a trip to Japan you can paint. So I was oh, cool. And so I applied. I think my experience has been very welcoming and warm and all good things. I think it's been interesting learning about everyone else's styles, learning about how everyone thinks. I think I was a little shocked to learn everyone's ages. I think that was my first goal when I got here. I wanted to learn everyone's age because I thought I was going to be the absolute youngest, and that made me a little nervous. But meeting everyone, it feels like we all have the same spiritual age. We're all the same mind age, which is nice. Feels like we're kind of the same person, just in different bodies, which I appreciate. In Kaga specifically, it's been really fun to try and speak with the locals, even though I don't understand all the time. It's been really nice to practice and learn. And then the sites have just been beautiful. It's been a really beautiful experience. I really love the nature and the things that we've been able to do. I love learning about the culture, and even just walking around and getting lost in the city feels like a second home almost. It's really nice. I think the change of pace and culture have affected my art practice. I don't really have the time at home to do art in the way that I'd like to. I don't really have the time or energy to sit down and really create. I think here that's been all that we're really doing, even if it's not just creating sitting and painting. I feel I'm creating with my mind more, if that makes sense. I'm always thinking of more things I want to make, and thinking of ways I want to improve, and thinking of ways I want to express myself, which has been nice because I don't feel I have that opportunity back home. It's a bit bittersweet because I feel once I get home, I won't have the same opportunity I do here. But it's also nice that I have this blip of time where I can just do what comes to me, and I feel free, like a bird out of a cage, and then I have to go back in my cage. Yeah. So the 3 pieces I've been working on, one is a Dharma doll, they're little wish or goal dolls that they have here, and you color in the right eye when you set a goal or make a wish. That's my first piece. It's the smallest. That one is just because I have one at home, and I actually made a goal before I came here. So I'm hoping that I'll have all of it together, and I wanted to paint a piece that's related to back home in a sense. And that's just because I have one at home, and it's also I came here, what a coincidence. And then the next one is my onsen piece. I have a working title. I feel like a beach ball in the onsen, but it's just because coming to Japan, or not even just Japan in general, but when you go to other places where there's different culture, I feel it's the culture shock sometimes, but even if you're doing the practices correctly, sometimes you still feel a little displaced or a little off. And I've noticed that mainly in the onsen for myself. Even when I go with groups of people who are from America, or other foreigners, going to the onsen together, there's times where I'm feel I'm doing the right thing. I'm cleaning myself correctly, I'm sitting in the onsen, I'm enjoying myself, but I still feel a little different than everybody else there, which isn't fully a negative feeling. But yeah, the piece is a beach ball and a donut floaty in the water, because it's these are the correct things to use in water, but I think it's like the wrong time to use them. So that's that piece. And then the third one, I'm currently finishing it. It's a self-portrait. I wanted to include the kitsune masks or some of the Japanese masks that have a meaning towards myself a bit more. I like the kitsune mask the most because they're like very clever, trickster like foxes. I think I'm like a funny, clever person. So that's that piece together. But they're all like pretty deep expressions of myself, whether it's just whether it's just something I feel or like how I view myself or like a connection to back home or like a goal that I have. I've made all the pieces like mean something to me, which is nice. I think the local culture, especially for the like onsen piece, it's definitely the nature aspect. It's just beautiful. So I really wanted to capture the serenity of like the nature here in that piece, which was really cool. It was nice to try and work on a landscape like that because I haven't really, well, not really a landscape, but like a scenic piece like that because I haven't done that before. And I wanted it to look like here, and I don't think I've had that in some of my pieces. I think pieces I've done of like buildings before didn't really care if it looked like the building or the specific place as much, but this I was like, I want to do it justice. I feel like that's more a respect thing as well. I feel like the culture here has also been very like welcoming and respectful, and at times I want to make sure that I'm doing everything right because it's kind of like you don't want to disappoint the people here because I look up to a lot of them. It's very nice there. I think some of the aspects I've noticed, it's not necessarily as noticeable in my art, but I feel like here people take their time. And I know myself, I don't take my time as often as I should. I rush through a lot of things. But here I have noticed I've been taking a lot more time to do things. And I've noticed how it's affected my art. I feel like I've been growing a lot more here in a shorter amount of time than you would think. Like, even for my onsen piece, I think I started it and I was like, this is terrible. I'm going to throw it away and start over. Because usually I'll just like do something and I'm like, okay, this looks right. And then I finish it really quick. But that I was like building on it for days. And then for the self-portrait I'm doing, I'm like still working on the skin. And I've been layering the skin much more than I usually do. But it feels nice to slow down and to take time like everyone else does here. Like it feels like I'm being influenced by the people to like really breathe in the fresh air and like stop and smell the flowers and look at the trees and notice where I am and sit peacefully and be more present. I feel like people here are a lot more present, and I would like to adopt that in my art as well. I feel like I'm being more present now in my work. Like, this is what I want to do. I'm putting my brush here for this reason. Yeah, I'm more thoughtful. I think that's what's happening. Looking back at my experiences here, yes, I do think there are lots of things that will have an impact. I think the people here, not even just the people in Kaga City, but also the people within this group, a lot of them have influenced how I want to live my life. I've mentioned a multitude of times, like how Mbonisi has said a lot of very wise spiritual things. Jungle has said a lot of wise spiritual things. And I would like to take some of those things with me. I think also even today I was talking with Sam in the onsen, and she was like, when you're building pieces like this, you should build like the foundation on the inside, like how the structure on the inside. I was like, that's brilliant. I never thought of that. Or like taking tips from people within my art. That's nice. And then like I said before, like taking inspiration on how to live my life back home, to be more present, to be more mindful, to try and make every moment count. I think it was Jungle earlier last week. He was saying like, we're all gonna die at some point. You don't know when you're gonna die, but you should live as if you're gonna die tomorrow, like every day. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's a really good way to put it. 'Cause I think before I came here, I was like waiting until the next day. I think that was my mindset back home. Just like wait until tomorrow, like wait until Saturday, like wait until this day. And before I came, I was like, just wait until like April 13th. I was like, just keep waiting. You'll get there eventually. And now I think I would like to go home and instead of waiting until the next big thing, like make each moment very important to make each moment very lively. Like, live more presently. I keep saying that, but it's very important. I think it's something I'm going to take with me for the rest of my life. I think this residency's given me a lot more confidence. I have mentioned a lot before in some of the like little group discussions that I wasn't very confident in my art ability. I was super nervous coming here and being surrounded by people with such amazing work and like such amazing foundations in the things that they do. But I feel like I have that skill set too. I don't think I like have it set up the same way they do. Like some of them are like, here's my portfolio here, like here's this. I don't have that yet, but I do have a lot of work and I do have a lot of skills I wasn't thinking about. So I think the residency in general is helping me to expand my horizons, feel less afraid to create, feel less afraid to share, to feel less afraid to try and put myself out there and actually go after the things I want to go after. I was actually looking up like other residencies to see if there's like other opportunities like this around, because I would love to do this again. Or if there's like shows or something I could put myself into back in Nashville. But I don't think if I came here I would have ever done that. I think I would have just stayed to myself. Even, I don't know if you specifically were looking at like our art. I know you said you were looking back into our like stuff. Even on my page now, like, I don't have anything related to my art on there. So I was kind of like, I hope they don't try and do a background check, because they're going to be like, what does she even do? Like, she doesn't do anything. But now I'm like, I want to put everything out there. Because when people come over to my house, I'm like, oh, you want to see my portfolio? And I have like a folder with like all my drawings in it. And I like hand it to them and they look at it. They're like, why don't you have this somewhere online? Like, I'm nervous. I think there's a quote I wrote down at the beginning of the year. It was, is your desire to create stronger than your fear of being seen? And I think now my desire to create is stronger than my fear of being seen. And I don't think I would have gained that or the confidence to do the things I want to do without this residency and the people that were here to help. This was a great experience. I'm very, very grateful. I'll say being around the artists and their influences, it has influenced me in certain ways, but some ways it hasn't, if that makes sense. It's like a combination. I think it's been nice to talk to them and learn about their processes. And I think sometimes some artists will tell me like what they're doing and I'm like, that's really interesting. I don't think I'll do that though. Like, it's interesting to see that you do that, but I don't think I'll ever do that. But then there's other artists that are like, I do this, and I'm kind of like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. I think I might try and steal that. Like, I might try and do that myself. So it's a little bit of both. It's nice to know all the different ways people make art. I was talking to Javon and I think Samantha about this again. We were talking about how like some people will try to learn art from other people, and the other people, maybe like teachers or places you go to, like classes, they'll be like, this is right and this is wrong. But I like being here and learning that there's no right or wrong. There's stuff that I don't want to do. Sure. There's stuff that they may not want to do. Sure. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. And it doesn't mean it's necessarily like right either. And I like that. I like that there's so much fluidity in how everyone creates. I think I've also, I didn't do this before. This sounds a little funny, but I never stepped back to look at my piece. I would like do it and then like be done with it. I've watched everyone like step back and like look at their pieces or like stand on a chair and look over their pieces. And I've started doing it. I'm like, this makes so much sense. I'm locking in now. Like this, I need to do this. So I'm definitely going to take that away. I think that inspired me to actually look at what I'm doing a little more. I hope that viewers can take away like a relation to how I feel sometimes. Like maybe like, oh, I understand this feeling. But I also hope that they can see me a little bit. Sometimes it's difficult to express who you are or how you think with words. And I think it's easier with pictures. I think a lot of artists may feel that way. Maybe not even just pictures. For some, it's words. I know for Monisi, it's probably words because he sings. And I know for you, it's probably like videos with pictures, their photography. For me, it's like, this is what's in my head. I'm going to put it onto a picture. Hopefully you understand what I'm talking about. And I would like for people to understand not only what I'm talking about and to relate to that, but also so they can be like, oh, this is who she is. Because I don't know how to express that sometimes. And also it's nice that through my work, people can start to understand like, oh, she's still learning who she is. And like, maybe they'll think to themselves, like, I'm learning who I am. And it's okay to still be learning. I think that's an important part of my work. Like, we're all humans. We all become one age only once. We're learning everything just like everyone else is. There's only like a select few that are like, I've been here before. And I don't think there's many of them though. But I think it's nice that we can all try and learn together. And maybe even though my experiences aren't the exact same as someone else's, maybe they can like learn a little about themselves through me, the way that I'm learning about myself. I want everyone to feel like cozy with my art also, like, oh, that's me. Like, I relate, I get it. I think that's an important part of my work. I think even, I don't have my ceramic pieces here, but I think that was a big part of my ceramic pieces, especially my emotion series. And when I was showing it to people, especially anger, that's the one a lot of people like. It's the black one with the red spiked pieces. A lot of people were like, I get it. Like, I feel this too. And I'm like, I'm glad. Like, now you understand. Now you can relate to this. And they're like, wow, like, I didn't think of my emotions like this. And they start to do that for themselves. Helps you to, like, think of yourself. I want people to think of themselves more. Like, look into themselves more. Is that introspection? I want people to be introspective when they look at my work as well. Maybe not off rip, like when you first look at it, you may be like, what the heck? But I want you to think later. That's the assignment. Maybe I'll add that in the little bio. Think at the end. Yes.